Okay, good morning. So we're up to Siman Shin Chof Ches Seif Lamed Vav. Says the Mechaber, Ein lo yasin mastiki. You're not allowed to chew mastiki. What is that? Ein Siman Reishud Vav Seif Gimel Perushai. And there we say it's like the bark of a eucalyptus tree. There it was in Hilchas Brachos. The Gemara said, the Shulchan Aruch says that you say Beirei Atzei Besomim on this. So in those days they would sort of chew the bark of a eucalyptus tree. That's this mastiki. But you're not allowed to do that on Shabbos. Nor could you sort of brush the teeth l'shem refuah. But it's got a nice smell, and therefore if you want to just use it as a sort of a pleasant smell for your mouth, that would be okay. So refuah no, but reach hapeh is mutter. Says in Mishnah Berurah Perushay, who min sraf hayetzi mino ilan. It's some sorts of sap or bark or whatever that comes from the tree. So therefore, you want it has medicinal purposes as well. So it depends what your intention is. So shafin boy b'tosefta isa basam. So if it's mishum refuah, you can't. But if it's because of reach hapeh, then it's okay. Says Mishnah Berurah kufta zayin mutter d'mipnei reach lo mikri refuah. To have a pleasant smell in your mouth, that is not a problem of Vishum Refuah. So he says interesting points in 105. In Shin Gimel, also litain pilpel l'toich. There, kedei lahaves harech, it says you can't put a peppercorn in your mouth to get rid of the reach, the bad smell. So how come over here you're allowed to put this matstiki in, to get rid of reach hapeh? Or biha Mishnah Berurah sham she'asa adov Mishum Refuah. So what's the chiluk? Why is this allowed and over there not? The peppercorn goes to the root of the problem. It somehow cures the reason why you've got bad breath. Because it's mishum refuah, it goes to the source of the problem. Mashenkein belises mastiki. Mashenkein over here, it's just like a bit of a gum or something. It's sort of a band-aid, as it were. She'ein elam avir zarech. It just takes away the bad breath. Mishum kach ein nechshavas refuah. That's the chiluk. So what about mouthwashes and things like that? So you'll be pleased to know it's okay. But if you look at the last paragraph in 105, he says tachshirim hamiyuadim. All these manufactured products for mouthwash and things like that could go in meiper v'chadaymer. Das hagonim nissen karelitz she'im einom me'ilim el reach hapeh b'vad. If it's just to give, to freshen up your taste and your breath, mutzah lishtamish b'am, then it's okay. Ulam yesh b'am gam chomer machta. There are some of them which actually are sort of antiseptic, disinfectants and things like that, which are medicinal. Then also ladiach b'am es hapeh b'Shabbos. Then you can't use those. So you see that occasionally. You see the mouthwashes which have a bit more medicinal, they're antiseptic, things like that. So but apart from those, the regular mouthwash is no problem. Okay, let's go weiter. Lamed Zayin. Kol acholim umashkim she'em Michael Brim. Any food which is Michael Brim, regular healthy food, you're allowed to eat and to drink that even though your intention is l'refuah. So that's your classic chicken soup because, I've got a bit of a cold, or I want a whiskey because I've got a sore throat, or whatever it is. These are Michael Brim, and even though your intention is l'refuah, it's okay. Afal pi shehem koshim l'ksas brim, even though sometimes these things are dangerous or damaging for some healthy people, or it's therefore evident that you're doing it to shum refuah. Nevertheless, it's okay. And anything which is not considered Michael or Mashke Briim, also then you can't have it for refuah purposes. We're talking about somebody who's got some sort of minor ailment, for whom he's sort of he's out and about like a regular healthy person. But if you haven't got any ailment at all, then there's no problem. Because it's just you're a healthy person eating healthy food. And so too, if you are nofel mishkav, i.e., you're category number 3, you've got very bad flu and you're bedbound, then that would be okay because you're allowed to take these sort of things on Shabbos. Okay, says the Mishnah Berurah, Liksas Brim. Tzorich lemed dvarim, kolema, afal pi shehadova hazeh mazik tzas l'shar ivarim shebeguf. this type of food could be damaging for other parts of the body. Kugoin hatchayil, a spleen, sheyofel shinaim is good for your teeth. For kosh b'nimayim, but it's not so good for your stomach, for your intestines. For chia gavna v'imkein mukha milsa she'isa kein refuas l'shinaim. So if you're eating it, it must be that you've got some toothache, because why else would you do it? Because it's bad for your intestines. Because otherwise you wouldn't eat it. It plays up your stomach. Nevertheless, it's allowed, because at the end of the day, it's food, it's meat, it's spleen, or whatever the food happens to be. And therefore you're not allowed to take a drink which is meshalshel, which has a diuretic effect, whatever that is, unless your whole body is in distress, or you're actually gone to bed. Even if there's no sakana, but you're category 3 chayla, it is allowed. Okay, aval. So what's this going on? The end of the mechaba. Aval im ein lo shum mechush muta. But if you've got no problem and you're fully healthy, then there's no harm in taking any of these. Aval the heichad yesh lo shum mechush. But says the Mishnah Berurah Kuvides, if you do have any small ailments, afilu eichel v'sheisel l're'avim l'simoin. Also, even if you're eating or drinking these things because you're thirsty or hungry, it is also because you are mildly ill. This is you're doing this l'shum refuah. And then it seems you're doing it l'shum refuah that it's not allowed. We said, I like chicken soup or I like whiskey or whatever. But if you're doing it to strengthen yourself, so if you're a little bit unwell and you're doing it lechazik mizgai, then the Magen Avraham says afilu b'bari gomor, even if a person is healthy, then he can't take it. Now the big question is, what about taking vitamin supplements on Shabbos? That's the big issue. So he deals with it in 108. So this is what he says. We're not talking about a person who is 100% healthy. Because if you're healthy, you don't really get cured from this achila. We're talking about a person who is weak in nature. His own constitution is weak. So that type of person, he can't eat these types of foods because he's a weaker person, and therefore it's got sort of refuah, a smell to it. Now, and therefore, says Ramesha, a totally healthy person, who is not weak and no illness whatsoever, says Ramesha, he would be allowed to take vitamin supplements on Shabbos, even though vitamins are not really called Michael Brim. He the Arletzian says that it's just considered a regular food anyway, so there's no problem. Ramosha says it's not called Michael Brian, but it's allowed because if a person is fully healthy and he's just doing it because he wants to maintain good health and have vitamin C supplements or whatever it is, then that's okay. However, it's not unanimous. Sometimes people have sort of protein shakes and things like that, and they have they replace regular food. If you're taking these things to sort of strengthen the body, they're not really called Michael Brim, and therefore v'asa lekachtam. V'das hagonim risen karelitz. Vitamin even if you take vitamins as a food supplement or food alternative, so there you have it. Machlokas regarding taking vitamins. Ramosha would allow it because only for a healthy person, because this is the whole problem is if a person has got a weak constitution. But if it's a healthy, strong person and he wants to just maintain good health, that would be okay. But others are more strict. Now, what about taking sleeping tablets on Shabbos? That's interesting. Is that caught by refuah? So he deals with it here. He can only sleep if he takes tablets. Not being able to sleep is not an illness. It's just hugely frustrating and very, very distressing. But it's not an illness. It's not a chayli, and therefore he allows him. And therefore they're not tablets making you better. And they don't help other particular illnesses. And then you can also add the heta as a svara. Anyway, nowadays we're not baki in shchika salmonim, which is the whole problem of refuah. You don't have to be worried that maybe you come to be sheichik salmonim, and therefore we're not worried about that. And therefore that line of thought allows you to take sleeping tablets on Shabbos. He writes, Dan Waldberg writes, he says that sometimes sleeping tablets also have medicinal benefits. So the consensus is that most poskim allow taking sleeping tablets on Shabbos. And others, there are machmir. I don't know exactly what the minhag is, but it seems to be there's plenty of poskim to be reliant on. Okay, let's carry on. But if a person is category 3 chayla, in other words, nechlash kol gufay, or bedbound, then it would be okay to have any type of meichel brim. Pirish lechol v'licious dvarim she'ein miderech brim lechol, all things which regular food, but people, generally healthy people, don't eat it. It's hard to think exactly what sort of example we're talking about. I'm not sure. You don't even need to have a non-Jewish person pass it to him. The chayla can actually take it himself. If you zayin kadas gimel sheyesh b'maisa osal b'dei Yisrael. Remember that third opinion we said that the Yisrael himself can do a shvus, a drabonon, with a shinui. Ve'ein mutza ki im alidei shinui. There we're talking about proper drabonans. Here you're just eating some sort of unusual food which unwell people eat. And therefore the chayla himself can take it no problem without a shinui. That's the Radvaz. Okay, let's just do quickly Lamed Ches. So you're allowed to have srafim asukim, sweet sraf, like a sap from the tree, I think, and to have a raw egg so that you can have a good voice. So if you're a chazan and you want to have a raw egg Shabbos morning, no problem. Says the Mishnah Berurah, mutalechol delav the refuah hu to ligzer bezer mishum shchika samonim. It's not really mishum refuah. You're doing it so that it can enhance your voice, and that's not l'shem refuah. An egg is considered a normal food, and therefore that would be okay on Shabbos. Seder.